So now we're just basically like looking at all the things that people have done to rhythm changes to sort of tweak it or evolve it. The cool thing about rhythm changes is that it's so common and ubiquitous that you're going to have all these different takes on it. And eventually these takes start to take a foothold, and you start to see them used like again and again, these changes and these evolutions that we're talking about. Like this line cliche we've already established. Another thing that you're usually going to see, and just keep in mind as we move forward that some of these things may or may not be in Oleo, but we're just trying to get ourselves in this mindset, like I said earlier, that Rollins might have been in when he wrote the song. And that is like, what are the things I can do? What are the things other people have done that I want to borrow from? And we've got this line cliche we talked about earlier, and the turnaround on the first ending. Another really common spin on rhythm changes happens yet again in measure 5. 5 through 8 are a really busy part of the rhythm changes form. One thing we're going to do here now is, you'll see this all the time. We're going to take this one chord. Let's go into edit mode. Boom. We're going to take this, what was our one chord, that if you remember earlier, we targeted the 4, we tonicized it. We're going to do that again. We're just going to use some interpolation and use the 2 of that 4 chord first. All right, so here we'll interpolate the 2 of 4, and then we'll just change this 5, what was in third inversion, to a root position. And this 4 chord, what makes a real nice resolution here is if we make it a 6, an E flat 6. So let's change this to that. That chord scale is Lydian now, and that kind of gives us a nice, really good point of resolution, whereas the 7 chord before maybe did not. Here, this what was our minor 4 chord, what also might happen again and again, like you'll see in anthropology does this, a flat 7/7 in place of the E flat minor 7 over G sharp. All right. So here's yet another spin or take or evolution of a rhythm changes form. All right, so one more thing you also might see happen with any song based on a rhythm changes form is here with regard to the 2 chord at the beginning of the piece. Both of them actually, the one in measure 1 and the one in measure 3. What may or may not happen, again, this depends on the arrangement or the recording. So like you could have the same song recorded 4 different times by 4 different groups, and some of them may mix and match all these ideas we've been talking about. Some of them might use 2 or 3 of them. Some recording might use all of them. Some recording may just use one of these ideas or these techniques. So that's why we feel like it's necessary to kind of go over all of them. So having said that, let's talk about what we're going to do to this 2 chord, and that's this. We're going to make it the 5 of the C minor 7. So instead of using G minor 7, instead of using just a 6 chord here, we're going to change it to the 5 of the next chord, the 2, which would be G7 flat 9. Let's go back to the functional view of the map here. So here, that goes there, and I'm going to do the same thing to this over there, and this creates this kind of reshapens the harmony or the tension and release within the harmony. You get more of a resolution now when you go to the C minor 7, because that G7 flat 9, as any chord's 5 chord does, is introduce a lot of tension. So now instead of like building the tension all the way to the end of the phrase, we have these moments within the measure where we have tension release. So it's more jagged as opposed to sort of more of a parabolic arc of tension and release. So that's a really cool thing you see happen all the time. So now we've talked about all the different ways that people have sort of customized rhythm changes for their own purposes, and we've gotten to this point here, this current evolution of it. Well, all we got to do now is tweak a couple things, and we'll have basically what, if you look in the real book, Rollins has as Oleo. And one of those things has to do with one of the two chords, or I'm sorry, one of the 6 chords we changed earlier, this guy, this G7 flat 9. Because of what's going on in the melody, it actually works a little bit better if we just kind of had left it alone and just used the 6th chord. We're not going to change the other G7 flat 9 that happens over there, but if you look in the rule book, you'll see B flat major 7, G minor 7 in the first measure, and B flat major 7, G7 flat 9 in the third. So there's one of our changes right there that's going to sort of turn what we have into Oleo. All right, so now with only 2 more tweaks, we'll have Oleo as it appears in the real book. And one of the things we're going to change, the first of those 2 tweaks, has to do with this flat 7 chord here, this A flat 7. We're going to put it back to the minor 4 chord that we had earlier. We're just going to make sure it's an E flat minor 6 this time. And then, boom, that's good to go. And the only other thing we have to do now is sort of edit this second ending. We're going to add in the second ending the 2 of 2 here, the 5 of 2, and then very quickly we're going to go on the first beat 2, let me change this real quick, and then 5 on the very next beat, and then right over to 1 on beat 3. So the changes get kind of sped up there, but they're pretty much the same as they were from the first ending upon the repeat back to the beginning. So there you have it, Oleo by Sonny Rollins, as it appears in the real book with all the harmonic analysis self-contained within Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro. If you thought this was helpful, help us out and click on like and subscribe. If you want to stay up to date on current content, click on the notification bell. Thanks for watching.